Hi everyone, my name is Leanne and today I'm bringing you my to be read pile for the Irish Readathon. So if you don't know what the Irish Readathon is, I will leave my announcement video and my two co-hosts announcement videos linked down below in the description. But the Irish Readathon is essentially a month dedicated to reading Irish books. All you need to do to participate in the Readathon is to read just one Irish book, then you have participated. But if you want to push yourself a little bit more, we have pulled together a number of kind of reading prompts or challenges. All of the information is in the announcement videos, but I will also leave a link to our Discord server down below in the description if you want to get more involved in conversations. We'll be over there chatting to everyone about their reading in March. And if you want to share anything about your reading journey during the Irish Readathon, do hashtag it the Irish Readathon so we can see it. Now, as I said, all you need to do to participate in the Readathon is to just read one Irish book, but you know, I think as a host I've got to push myself a little bit more than that. So I have picked out a book for each of the prompts, and if you want to join in with the prompts too but you're feeling a little bit stuck, you don't know what you want to read, I have years and years of recommendations videos from my years doing the Readathon, so I will leave that playlist linked down below as well for you to check out. Not only will I be reading a book for every single prompt that we have set up, but all of my reading in the month of March is going to be Irish authors. There are various approaches that I'm taking to my reading in March. Obviously, I had this kind of big year-long focus on reading the books that are actually on my shelves because there are so many unread books I have, and I definitely have a lot of Irish authors on my shelves, Irish books on my shelves that I haven't read yet, so I would love to get to those. But I'm actually going to be trying to find a lot of those books digitally, either like on my Kindle, but also using my library's ebook and audiobook services, because I am traveling at the end of March. There is over a week of the Readathon where I'm not going to be at home, I'm going to be traveling, so I'm going to be out and about lots. I will also have a couple of very long flights, so I will be able to get a lot of reading done then. But it's not just a time restriction, it's also that I don't want to be carrying loads and loads of books with me when I'm going traveling. I will certainly maybe have one or two paperbacks, but I don't want to bring loads of books with me. So I will be leaning on what I can digitally towards the end of the Readathon. There are also a couple of really short books that I would like to read during the month that I don't have copies of, but I will try and find those in my library as well. I am really focused on reading the books that I actually have on my shelves, so the only books that I will be getting out of the library are ones that are like really short. I'm primarily thinking that I want to read some Claire Keegan. So the books I'm about to show you aren't all of the books that I'm going to be reading in March, but I will do a separate video where I run down all of the unread Irish books that I have on my shelves. Now that has been quite a lot of preamble when you just want to hear what I'm reading for the Readathon. I mean, first of all, I'm obviously reading The Rachel Incident by Caroline O'Donoghue because this is our group read. We're all going to be reading this. I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to. Like I said, you're still participating if you just read one Irish book. But like, if you don't want to read this, I feel like you're missing out because it was my favorite book of last year. And now I get to read it with all of you guys. If you want to get involved in the conversation around this one, the Discord server is the place to be. As I said, link down below in the description. I've spoken about this book a lot in recent videos, so I'm not going to give you an overview of the themes and the plot, but I would love to have as many people as possible join in with us reading this one. The next prompt is one that we have every year, and that is to read a book with green on the cover. And for this, I have picked out Ashling and the City by Emer McLysa and Sarah Breen. Not only does this have green on the cover, but it also has these amazing green sprayed edges. So I feel like I'm really going above and beyond to fulfill this prompt. This is the fourth book in the Ashling series, and this is a series of books that kind of just looks like a typical Irish girly. If the Adrian Mole books were from the perspective of an Irish woman in her early 30s, it would be the Ashling series. Like, it's kind of got that energy of kind of like a bit of like a slice of life, just very low stakes, highly like hashtag relatable content. And occasionally these books do have a bit of a more serious message to them, but overall they are just really kind of like fun, easy reads. I read the third book in this series also when I was traveling. I listened to it on audiobook and I was just wandering around Nice and Monaco listening to this story of this extremely Irish girl, which was a wonderful listening experience. Oh my god. So I've just actually read what this one is actually about. And this is about Ashling going to New York. The place I'm going is New York. Oh my god. Like, this was, I didn't plan this. I did not know what like the theme of this book is. Now that I look at it, I mean, it's called Ashling in the City, like Sex in the City. So it should have been remarkably obvious to me that this was set in New York. But it wasn't. This is incredible. I'm going to be reading a book about an Irish girl going to New York when I am being an Irish girl going to New York. So perfect. Our next prompt is one that is very popular when we've done it in previous years, and that is to read an Irish children's book, and you can also read a young adult book if you would like to for this prompt. I have picked out Paper Dragons, The Fight for the Hidden Realm by Siobhan McDermott. So in this book, we are following our protagonist, who is 12 years old, when she gets an invitation to an underwater school that offers her the chance to become immortal. Here she gets involved in dragon boat races, meets shape-shifting tutors, and takes part in a number of magical and thrilling trials. This is currently Waterstones Book of the Month, so if you have a Waterstones near you, if you are in the UK and you want to get your hands a copy of this, it is the Children's Book of the Month, and it has these fantastic jellyfish sprayed edges as well. The author of this is Chinese Irish. For many years of this readathon, I struggled to find books by Irish authors that weren't just like entirely white people. And in recent years, there's been a growing number of more diverse voices coming from Irish writing, which is really fantastic. I have a recommendations videos where you can find more suggestions if you want to make sure your TBR isn't entirely white. It will have passed by the time we get to the Irish readathon, but I also think it's very clever publishing this one around Chinese New Year as well. Our next prompt was to read a book that was somehow related to the number 7, and you can interpret that however you want. I've been really enjoying seeing how people are making this prompt work for them. The reason we have chosen the number 7 is because this is actually the 7th year of us doing the readathon, which is incredible, and thank you to everyone who has joined in with us over the years, especially those of you who have been with us from the very start, but also welcome if this is your first year joining in with us. But yeah, people have interpreted this prompt in so many different ways, which is really great to see. I wasn't sure how I was going to interpret it, but actually the first book that I checked to see if it somehow fit the prompt worked. So every year for the Irish Readathon, I really like to read a Marian Keyes book, and the next one on my list is Rachel's Holiday, which is probably her most well-known one. Oh my God. So this is also based in New York City. This was so accidental. Like, I genuinely didn't realize that this was also set in New York. But our main character is Rachel, who is living her high life in New York. She is spending her nights partying and partying, returning in the early hours of the morning, and she doesn't think this is a problem until her older sister stages somewhat of an intervention, and Rachel finds herself on the way to rehab. Marian Keyes does an amazing job of telling really kind of easy reading stories while also tackling some very serious subject matters, and in this one it's dealing with like alcohol addiction. I've read a few Marian Keyes books before and have absolutely loved them, so I'm so excited to read probably her best known book. Oh, and the reason this fits into the number 7 prompt is because it was originally published in 1997. The next prompt is to read a book that is in your favorite genre. Now, I had a little think about my favorite genres, and I think I kind of have a few favorite genres, right? I really love book club fiction, which is what I would say something like The Rachel Incident is. I do really love romance fiction. I love queer young adult books, but a genre that I feel like I haven't been reading as much from, that I absolutely love, and I'm making a real conscious effort to read more, is non-fiction, but specifically female-led and focused non-fiction. So my favorite non-fiction book of the year last year was The Five by Hallie Rubenhold, and I loved that, and reading that book really cemented to me that the kind of non-fiction I love is kind of something that is focused on a really specific topic, but non-fiction that is looking at the lives of people, so it's kind of character driven but about real people, specifically with a female focus. And I actually have the perfect book that fits all of those things, that genre that I'm calling female-focused, character-led non-fiction. And that is Bad Bridget by Elaine Farrell and Leanne McCormick. Now, I was meant to read this last year for the Irish Readathon, but I didn't get round to it, and I definitely want to read it this time. And this also has a bit of a New York American link, because it is about the lives of Irish immigrant women and all the crimes and mayhem and mischief that they got up to. This book is also a bit of a nod to Herstoryathon, which is another readathon that is running in March. I will leave the information for that linked down below in the description as well, if that's something you're also interested in. But this book is my little nod to that readathon as well. And the final prompt is to pick a word from this board of words and find a book that has something related to that word on the cover. So I have gone for the food word, and I'm going to be reading Grapefruit Moon by Shirley Ann Macmillan, which has grapefruits on the front. So I picked this book up in Halfway Up the Stairs, which is an amazing children's and YA bookshop in Ireland. I was actually there for work, but I couldn't resist picking up a few books while I was there. I hadn't heard of this book before, and it was like facing cover out, and it just drew me in. I love this cover so much. And then when I read the blurb, I knew it was coming home with me. So I'm going to read you the blurb for that reason, because that was the thing that drew me in. How far would you go to fit in? Wealthy, popular Charlotte and quiet Drew from the council estate don't have much in common. Except for Adam, Charlotte's ex and leader of the toxic stewards club. As Drew struggles to follow the stewards' rules, Adam is terrorising Charlotte with the video of them having sex. A trip to Spain, poetry slams and a drag queen bring Charlotte and Drew closer together and push them further than ever from who they used to be. This was just ticking so many boxes for me. I mean, a trip to Spain, poetry slams, and a drag queen, I'm in. But this is also obviously dealing with something that is a very serious topic. The circulation of this kind of content without someone's consent is something that has been a problem for a very long time, but I think is becoming more and more frequent and more dangerous and worrisome. So I'm really glad there's a book out there that is tackling this topic for young people and teenagers. So there we have it. That is my TBR for the Irish Readathon. As I said, this won't be all of the books that I'm reading, although it is a pretty substantial stack. So who knows? It might be. Especially with me doing so much traveling. I don't know how that's going to balance out. Like, I am going to have some very long flights, but I'm probably not going to want to read for the whole flight. I might have to make a real conscious effort to read in the mornings because my boyfriend tends to wake up a little bit later than I do. So that might be the prime time to actually get some pages in while I'm traveling. Do let me know down in the comments if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. If you did, let me know if you're participating in the Readathon. What are you looking forward to reading? Are there any Irish books on your TBR? And equally, if you are looking for any recommendations, do feel free to leave a comment down below or use the Discord server. I'm so excited to participate in this Readathon. It is my favourite reading month of the whole year. I'm so excited to be hosting again with Aoife, and now we've got Lisa on board. It's just, I think it's going to be the best one we've done yet. That's it for me today. I hope you're doing well, and I will speak to you in my next video.